Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. So today we are going to be looking at all of your questions that you have sent me. This is our weekly update of what's going on. And the questions are pretty interesting and varied. So why don't we just get into it? I'll finish up the video with the 3-card poll. For anyone who is a member, please check the community board because lots going on this week, just like last week was jam-packed. Always check the playlist, always check the community posts. This is also the week that we start the new classes, and those get uploaded every Friday. That is opening up your chakras using EFT or tapping, because I figured, if one way doesn't work, another way will. So I think it will actually work out for you pretty well, okay? So let's get into it. The first question is from Elmont. And they ask, I currently live in Florida and it's mind-blowing how many people in my area just love Ron DeSantis. Yes, that is mind-blowing. I would agree. I hear all the time how he's the best governor. My question is, does Nikki Fried, a Democratic contender, have a good chance of winning for governor over Ron DeSantis? I've never read on her. So quite frankly, this is going to be a very cold read. So let's take a look. Let me just back up and say though, because we're talking about Florida. On Saturday, when I was on Hogarth's channel with Hogarth, Lady G, myself, and we were reading on Brian Laundrie. Lots of new interesting information came up. You may want to check it out, but we're going to continue that conversation on Saturday on Hogarth's channel, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, because of what happened after we turned off the live button and we just started talking, and Lady G and I brought out our pendulums. We got a lot more answers, and I think it all makes sense, and we're going to share that with you on Saturday. So that's a little bit of a teaser. So let's look at this Nikki Fried. I know nothing about her. Oh, a card jumped out. But at the same time, oh, interesting. So I'm going to say this is actually her, Queen of Swords. So she must be somebody that is well-spoken, that is intelligent, analytical, good with the written and the spoken word, someone who's fair and balanced. That's what that sword means. Someone who's truthful, okay? So that's a great card. Interesting, because it looks like she's going to need some help for sure. I think we could be just reading too far out. So her obstacle is this is going to be a ruthless battle. Ron DeSantis and his people are going to put up one heck of a fight, I believe. She needs, this is interesting, she needs to make sure that she has forged the right relationships with people, okay? And when I asked for a clarifier on that, this is my card for Biden. So she needs help from him, Kamala, the heavy hitters, okay? I'm going to say at that time is probably going to be feeling pretty stressed, worried, anxious, all of that, waiting for her ship to come in. But at the same time, she does need to keep the faith, because the Fool's all about taking a leap of faith, right? Trusting in the universe. And I think because it's not pre-fated, a lot of it has to do with her own energies. She needs to feel positive. And I'm going to say, if you went deep into her energy and like her psyche, she's not feeling too confident. That's how I'm thinking, okay? Okay. Courtney asks, I recently read that we have soul places on Earth where we feel deeply content, peaceful, and a sense of belonging. I have felt this myself. Is there more to the story of these places? Are they especially important for starseeds who may otherwise feel adrift? I think the answer is twofold. One, I think if you're sensitive to energies, you may really just enjoy being near some of those good vortexes like Sedona and Mount Shasta, places like that. If you've had past lives that were good, that you enjoyed, like say in ancient Egypt, that might feel really good to you. What I have found, though, is a lot of starseeds didn't really have very many lives on this planet, that they have a tendency to be more sensitive to the energies. But a lot of times they do feel like they've had past lives because they were working on councils and things like that during really important parts of history. So, like say during World War II, I mean, there were so many councils on the other side trying to help people that sometimes because, they are so sympathetic and empathic, that they start to identify with those people that they're helping. And sometimes they latch on to, like, say, this particular soldier that was having a difficult time, that sort of thing. So yeah, I think it's more than one reason of why you could feel that way. And if it helps to anchor you, then that's also important too. Okay. Duende asks, is COVID almost done, or are more Greek letters coming? So that's exactly what I had said in the last video, that the Rock Collective said, yeah, we're going out to Chi. But they also said we're going to have all these periods where there's these false lulls, where things seem pretty good. We're in a good spot. Not too much is happening. And the time frame that they're giving me is more like years. And I think that one way out there. Now, if you know the Greek alphabet, you know that's way out there. And, you know, but also to remember, we talk about the Delta a lot, but we're not talking about all the other variants that are currently going on, because they're not causing such a big crisis for us at the moment. So yeah, what I said in the last video stands true. I don't think that's changed. Okay, Jeannie Love asks, can I read on the cities across the country that have police, fire, sanitation, and nurses that have refused to vaccinate and cause shortages? What will happen to those cities? Will it be a disaster? And I see a lot of you liked that one, so I'm going to get into that. Yeah, that's a real problem. Remember in the last video, I told you the story about, you know, when my mom was so sick and our police officers wouldn't wear masks. And I mean, I wasn't, because the vaccine wasn't even around at that point. I mean, I was just asking, can they please wear a mask before they come into my house? Because here, and then I found that a lot of you, when you call 911 in other countries, you don't get the police. We do in the US. So that's all I was asking. Because I said, don't put me in a position where I'm like putting my mother on my back, trying to carry her to the hospital here, you know, like, so it's a problem. And of course, people like DeSantis is making it worse, right? And if you didn't watch my last video, make sure you watch that, because I get into that. He's offering, you know, $5,000 cash incentives for these officers to come in. So let's take a look at that. Oh, you know, the cards are jumping today. Hang on. Ah, yes. So, I mean, you know, they feel like they're in for a fight, and they are. But of course, too, I would say us on the other side are feeling like we're also in for a fight, because we want to be safe, you know, and now the number one killer of policemen is the virus. So they need to keep that in mind. I know my hospital here, the ER, people are saying is just terrible right now, because they did put in a mandate and we had a lot of nurses walk out. And even if you are severely unwell, they're going to just leave you there. You know, people are waiting, you know, 8, 10, 12 hours as they're sitting there with chest pains or bleeding. Like, it's actually that bad here. So, so Jeannie, I think your concern is legit for sure. Okay, let's see what the cards have to say. Okay, so I mean, ultimately, it's going to be good. And it's kind of funny, because what the cards are saying is like, there's going to be a cash incentive for them to do this. And that's what's going to ultimately work. So the obstacle is like, this leaves a lot of people, you know, with grief, with sorrow. This is creating problems. I mean, in my own little town, it's creating problems. And nothing's going to change for a little bit. Things are going to stay the same. Things will start to change, though. So it's kind of funny that we get these cards back to back, right? A card of no change at all by the card of like drastic change. There's going to be those who I am wondering if they're going to actually try to lie about it and get caught. You know, here they are trying to get away with something. But I also think this could represent the misinformation from Russia, from Q, all of that too. But what gets people back to work, this is the only card that talks about working and making money, right? Is like this cash offer. And, you know, so maybe there is something financially they can do, you know, some of the towns and the hospitals and things like that, that'll help. You know, we'll have to see. I mean, I don't know why it would come down to that, but it just seems like, yeah, it is. Okay, Michelle Jean asks, question about animals, mostly domesticated animals, dogs, cats, horses. Do they progress in a spiritual awakening? Absolutely. So as we're going towards fourth density, our pets are going towards third density, where they can then in their next incarnation be a human. But don't think it's that rigid either. There is fluidity amongst the densities. Think about all the earth angels we have, right? These people that come down that are just amazing. So they came down from like sixth density, the angelic realm. They came down to help. And all these prophets and ascended masters that came from higher densities, and they came down, and if they feel like they could do more good as an animal, I mean, look at Esther the Wonder Pig and all the changes she has created. I mean, first of all, in Canada, it's amazing the changes she has created, but also think about the changes around the world. I mean, she's promoting veganism without ever saying veganism. She's promoting compassion and love without really ever badgering people, just being kind. And so animals can play a huge role. Okay, so Michelle asks, some dogs are just dogs. Well, that's never true. Where some seem so aware and dedicated to us. Yes, you know what the difference is between animals? And I think maybe that's why you're making the distinction between domesticated and, say, wild, is that when you show an animal love, they develop consciousness of themselves. They develop a self-awareness, which we can see as a personality. The more personality a pet has, the further along it's developed. Rumor has it that cats' consciousness were from the planet Sirius. Lyran, they're from the Lyran star system. I have a video on that in the membership program. Roosters can't imagine being anything but a rooster. I mean, do they have self-awareness where they can say, hey, I'm a rooster? No. But can they develop just like your cat or dog? Absolutely. I mean, I have seen some remarkable roosters. You can train them. They can know their name. They can develop a personality as long as they're given love. So I hope that helps. Okay. Okay, Gail M asks, what's going on between 45's corporation and the Russian bank that showed some type of communication during the 2016 campaign? Okay, so, I mean, it's money laundering, right? I think at this point we sort of know that part, but I'm assuming you're looking for details. So let's take a peek. Let's see. Okay. Oh, jeepers. Look at this. I mean, the first card that I get, the devil. Yeah, these were very devilish, fiendish acts, weren't they? And but you know what? For some reason, I'm drawn to the chains between these two. Why am I drawn to the chain, Spirit? What am I seeing? Oh, because 45 did not fulfill his end of the bargain. Now they've got things on him, and it's like they're chaining him down. He feels restricted. The obstacle, the emperor. Now, sometimes, I will get this for 45 because he sees himself that way, but I think it'd also be fair that Putin would see himself this way too. Either way, where he is the obstacle, so somebody who's authoritative, who has sown seeds and made like a foundation, okay, put things into action, set things up for the future. And I am leaning far more towards Putin with this one, because if that's the obstacle, then, but you could make the argument that the other obstacle would be 45 didn't live up to his end of the bargain. Now that's going to be a real problem. What does it have to do with juggling money overseas, right? We get the guy here juggling the money. Here's the boat going over the seas. And so sometimes when I get cards like that, I'm just like, that is spirit just validating what we're talking about. It's going to, end up being like this big legal battle. Because that's what this card means for me, is like, okay, a legal battle is coming. Lots of conflicts in ideas and thinking. The people that are involved are fighting and arguing. There's going to be a tower moment. So I'm going to say, even though I know it's taking longer than what we want, we're going to find out about it because of the tower moment. Okay, because, literally we have people leaping, to their deaths out of that tower as it's getting hit by lightning. Not a good thing, if you're one of those people involved and things didn't turn out for you the way that you wanted them to. So I'm going to say we will probably hear something about that in the future, okay? Marie H asks, how long will it continue to be a workers' job market where the job seekers have the power? I think for quite a while, because, as we're going towards like fourth density, manual labor really isn't a part of fourth density. And so we're seeing people leave those sort of jobs. And I think it's because they're seeking more meaning. And we've also seen how unfairly they've been treated throughout all of this. We call them essential, but then we do nothing to support them. So let's see what the cards have to say. But yeah, I do see down the road, us having much better like robots, AI, that sort of thing. I mean, we're already starting to implement it. And so I think if you're in one of those fields, you're going to have a lot of say in it. So you'll have a bit more power. Yeah, I mean, here's the knight in shining armor. His cup is full. He has all these opportunities that he's bringing to people. The obstacle is the truth. People not really seeing the truth, not seeing the reality. I mean, because we do need those people. Until our technology catches up, we actually do need these people, don't we? We have found that out during the pandemic. I don't know why people were so surprised that you need people to stock the shelves and help with the restaurants. I mean, so many different things. Construction, as we're talking about the infrastructure bill, well, we can create jobs, but if people aren't willing to do those sort of jobs, then that's also going to create another problem. And it's going to be the beginning of a whole new cycle. One phase is ending and we're going into another new one. And I do think it's going to be good, but it's going to be quite an adjustment compared to where we were. Okay. Sylvia Perchek asks, will Tucker Carlson be held accountable for spreading false information? He really should be, shouldn't he? I mean, through the years, he has done so much damage. And I see a lot of you liked that question. So, okay, let's take a look at Tucker's fate. Oh, jeepers. Okay. Very first card. Something's coming for him. And maybe that's why you're asking, because you felt like, okay, something is coming up. I mean, I haven't read on him for a while. So, okay, yeah, he's in for this tower moment where things start to catch up for him. And his obstacle is money. Isn't that interesting? Money that he accepted. Money that he accepted. There's a financial offer that he was given. That's his obstacle. We're going to be enlightened. Okay, the sun's going to come out, shine upon the truth. And I am taking this card at the very base level. He was acting like the fool. And, it's coming for him. This does have to do with big money. Okay, so that, whatever that financial offer is that is going to get him into hot water, it wasn't just a bunch of change. Okay, this was actually like real serious money. Oh God, look at this. It has to do with a financial offer. Okay, so we're going to hear news about some money that he had something to do with that is going to lead to his downfall and his undoing. I feel pretty strongly about that. Mel asks, what tarot deck and book do you recommend for beginner tarot readers? Well, if you take my tarot course, you'll see that I do suggest using the Rider-Waite. You can either use the original Rider-Waite or the what's it called? The Vibrant one. They're the same. The pictures are the same. I think it's just not good when you try to like mix in too many decks and you're trying to learn. And the author that I recommend is Joan Bunning. Okay. And so I do teach a lot of her principles because that's the book that I had way back in the day, decades ago. But it's still in print because I made sure when I made that class before I said it, that people could actually still get it, decades later. And you can. Joan Bunning. And also too, whenever you sign up for membership, the tarot class is all there. I update it all the time. I just did the one with the chakras, how to read your chakras using the tarot. Good Juju asks, is it possible to be in communication with our guides and not know the messages or knowings are from them? Sure. Yeah. That's why I think it's really important to have that crystal clear communication. Like you actually say, okay, I'm sitting down, I'm meditating. I am, opening up my chakras. I'm sending out an invitation to my guide or to my angels, whomever, ascended master, a prophet, something, a higher being than myself. And I'm making that connection. And this is our time to communicate. Give them the time and space. So often we don't. And if you don't, then you end up with, like, say, angel numbers. And angel numbers are good and bad. They're good that you're receiving some messages from spirit, but they're bad because that's what your spirit guides and angels are reduced to, is just sending you a bunch of numbers or some birds or butterflies. You're not getting the sentences and paragraphs. You're just getting a little bit of validation that, like, hey, I'm still here. We need to communicate. So if you get any of those things, sit up and pay attention, but also take the time to clear your mind. Because if your mind stays busy, you're not going to get any messages. You can't. How can you? You have to clear your mind, and meditation is the only way. Okay, let's see. I've answered a lot of these. Okay, I'm trying to not repeat the ones that I've already answered. JB Dar asks, will the upcoming holiday season bring us all the biggest gift ever? 45 in jail? No, I'm sorry. I wish. No. I mean, first of all, it's not moving that fast anyways. I mean, the holiday season is upon us, and I mean, it's hard to believe it's November, isn't it? Like, where does the time even go? I hope everyone had a great Halloween. It was so much fun, members, doing those Halloween cards. And then when I was doing the Halloween cards Saturday night on Hogarth's channel, they were really bringing in some good information, especially with Brian Laundrie. That was insane. I've never seen anything like that in my life. I didn't even know that card was in there because it never seems to come out when I read for people. I mean, I only bring out that deck once a year. So let's just take a look, JB. Oh, and the question right after by Rosalind is, why is it taking so long to nail 45? I feel like I've talked about that so much. So nothing has changed on that front, that they're just being very slow and methodical because they know his tactics and they know what he's going to do. And I think they're just prepared for it, and they're taking their time because they don't want him to wiggle out of it, because that's what he does, which is frustrating. I get it. Okay. Interesting. So it's kind of interesting that, like, so the first two cards are actually both my cards for the US. So, okay, so this has obviously a lot to do with us because we're talking about an ex-president, but the obstacle is also the US. So the issue is the US and the obstacle is the US. And that's what we're dealing with, isn't it? Which is why it's taking so long. So he is eventually going to go, okay? But I'm pulling this one out to show it to you now, but it actually comes up last. So he is eventually going. By then, no. And this is what I'm getting. There's things that we just simply don't know that people like Letitia James does know. And we have not been illuminated to all the facts. But also, too, do you want the facts to get out there and then for him to use the facts and to then manipulate things and do what he does? I say if something needs to be kept in the dark until the right moment, that would benefit all of us. And to me, this is like our judicial system, the emperor, setting up a good foundation, sowing those right seeds, so they can come into fruition and do what needs to be done. Okay. So yeah, I think it's coming, but it's not this year. Not this year. I wish I could tell you different. I do, but I can't. So why don't we finish up with a 3-card pull? I'm using the Archangel deck here. This is on the Archangel Power Tarot cards by Radley Valentine. And think of something, a problem, a situation that you've been trying to deal with that you need a little more guidance on that particular issue. Center yourself, take a deep breath, Let your conscious mind go to the side. You want to use your psychic powers, right? So that's subconscious. And which card are you drawn to? 1, 2, or 3? Okay, here we go. Card 1 is 4 of Michael. And it says, insights that come from quiet meditation, the need for more sleep or time off, seek relief from stress. So it's saying, be more introspective, reflective, meditate, take that time, take the quiet time. This is not the time to multitask. This is the time for self-care to get you the answers that you need, okay? Number 2, 10 of Gabriel. Ask your angels for helpful people to lighten your load. Working too many hours, trying too hard to please others. You know, you can't please everyone. One thing that my guide said to me when I started this channel is that you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. And so try to keep that in the back of your mind. You're not going to please everyone. That's okay. But you also have to make sure that you're setting boundaries where there's some work-life balance, that you have times where you work, but then there's also times where you're doing things that you enjoy and that you're resting, okay? Number 3 is 8 of Raphael. There is something better waiting for you. Do what you know is right for you, a spiritual quest. So don't settle is what this card's saying. Don't settle, okay? But there's something better for you. And maybe whatever it is didn't work out, because if it did work out, you wouldn't have gotten to that thing that's better. You know, synchronicities work in more than one way. Synchronicities can also work in sort of a negative way where you actually don't get something because there is something better for you. So, and the spiritual quest part, you could also be going through a spiritual awakening at this time, okay? All right, everyone, it was a pleasure making this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all in a few days. Bye, everyone.